Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Moms and today I have a very exciting video to share with you. It's a little late, but better late than never, as I like to say. I am doing the If You've Got It, Read It challenge, and it was, I think, originally created by Spine Breakers, but I learned about it on Erica's channel from The Perks of Books. I will link both of those channels down below if you would like to see what they chose or any additional information. But pretty much what this challenge is it's 24 prompts, and you have to choose 24 books that fit the prompt to get them off of your TBR. So it's just pretty much challenging you to read books you wouldn't necessarily pick up. But I thought I would give it a shot. I'm not really good at reading challenges. I have a lot of books on my TBR that I've been meaning to get to, and I need to read them. And this will hopefully force me to do so. So without further ado, let's get into them. So the first prompt is to read a book that you've had on your TBR in the past. And I've had this book on one TBR and it's been calling to me and I just haven't been wanting to pick it up. But it's A Cook's Tour by Anthony Bourdain, Global Adventures in Extreme Cuisine. If you do not know this about me, I love to travel. I love traveling so much. I was also a huge fan of Anthony Bourdain. The next prompt is to read a book you've owned the longest, and it is Secret Sea by Rob White. This is a very old book. My dad gave it to me. It originally cost 60 cents, which is kind of cool, but I don't know too much about it. It's an adventure novel written in 1947, and I've just had it forever, and I've been meaning to read it. I'm kind of in the mood for adventure novels. The third prompt is to read a book that's not a typical novel, and I chose Impulse by Ellen Hopkins. If you did not know, Ellen Hopkins writes in verse. It's actually really interesting. This one focuses on a rehab counseling center for 3 teens who tried to commit suicide. The fourth prompt is to read the longest book on your TBR. So I'm gonna read Way of Kings. It's finally happening. I'm really jazzed. This is 1,001 pages without all like the background stuff, like about the indexes and the glossaries and stuff. So I mean, it's still a heckin' chonker. Like, this is a big book. So I'm really super excited to finally read this. I'm also extremely terrified because it's huge. It's happening. 2020 is the year I read The Way of Kings. The next prompt is to read your shortest book. I've been wanting to read this book for a while, and it looks like it's probably one of my shortest books. It is Goblins by Charles Grant. This is an X-Files novel. It is the first book in like the X-Files like fan series kind of thing, and I love X-Files. It's one of my favorite shows. Mulder and Scully for life. I love them. I don't know what this book is about. Don't even care. It is 277 pages, which is pretty short, and oh, I'm so jazzed to get into this. I really hope it's good. I really want to like it. The next prompt is to read a sequel, and I've already completed this challenge. Go me. And that is Deadly Decisions by Kathy Reichs. This is the third book in the Temperance Brennan series, and I enjoyed this. It was great. It's about outlaw motorcycle gangs, and I learned a lot about blood spatter. So that's really exciting. So yes, I already read this. It was really good. I'm already feeling accomplished. Next is to read a cover by, and I have The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This book is gorgeous. It just reminds me of like summertime in Hawaii, and that sounds great. Like, yay. I mean, I was meaning to read this book anyway, but then I saw the cover and I was like, mine. So, yay. Next is to read a book that you bought on a friend's recommendation, and 2 of my friends actually recommended this book for me. Bree, who you know from this channel, and my new friend Emily, who is actually a librarian, and they both love this book, and it was on my radar. Like, it was a book that I wanted to read, but they said I had to read it. So Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Yep, I have not read this yet. Super jazzed to get into it. I really hope I enjoy it. Next is to read a book with your favorite color on it. Now, my favorite color is either yellow or pink. I chose a book that I had already read this year because it is bright yellow. Yay, yellow! This is The Apprentice by Tess Gerritsen. This is the second book in the Rosalian Isle series, and I really enjoyed this. Definitely, if you like crime novels, this is a good series. I enjoy it. Murder! Read a book from your most owned genre, and that would be fantasy. I read a lot of fantasy, whether it's like adult fantasy, YA fantasy, middle grade fantasy, urban fantasy. I like fantasy. But I've had this book in my TBR for forever, and I don't know anything about it except for that it is written by a female author. And that is The Undivided by Jennifer Fallon. It's the first book in the Rift Runners series. I don't even know if it's a series or a trilogy, but I think it's a portal fantasy. Like, it starts off in a fantasy world, and then one of these twins gets separated and sent to our world, and there's like this weird like psychic connection, and if they don't get reunited, they'll die or something. I've never heard anybody talk about this book or this series or this author. Read a book you've owned for so long you don't remember what it's about. The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. Saw this cover, I thought it was really cool. I know it takes place in the Netherlands, but that's all I know. So, perfect. So the next prompt is to read a book by one of your favorite authors. And I'm currently halfway through this one, but it is Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, which is the second book in the, I almost said Stormlight Archives, the Skyward series. And I'm enjoying this thoroughly. I mean, he's one of my favorite authors for a reason. The next prompt is to read a book by an author you've never read before. And I chose, because I needed to put another crime novel on here, The Cove by Catherine Coulter. This is the first book in the FBI thriller series, I guess is what it's called. But I see her books all the time at like library book sales, but because I haven't read this first book, I don't know if they're worth picking up. Hopefully it's good. Next is to read your most recently purchased book. And that would be Silverborn by Patricia Briggs. At the time of making this list, this was the last book I purchased. Sixth book? Fifth? Sixth? In the Mercy Thompson series? I don't know. It's the last book that I purchased. Read your most recently published book, and that would be, at this time, Come Tumbling Down by Shawnee McGuire, which I've already read and enjoyed, so that's another challenge down. Yay! Next is to read your least recently published book, and that would be The Tower Treasure by Franklin W. Dixon. This was published originally in 1927. I think this version is like 1967. He was a huge fan of the Hardy Boys. I only ever read Nancy Drew, so I wanted to give these guys a shot and see if I enjoyed them. And it's an old book. Read a nonfiction, and I chose Behind the Beautiful Forevers: Life, Death, and Hope in a Mumbai Undercity by Catherine Boo. I've been putting this off because it just sounds really sad and depressing, but everybody I know who's read this book has said it is absolutely amazing. Read a book that was gifted to you, and that would be Check Please, Book 1 by Ngozi Kazoo. I got this from Brie for Christmas. She read it and didn't want it, and she asked me if I wanted it, and I said yes. Gift. I've had this on my radar for a while, and I've never actually picked it up. So when she offered it to me, I said yes. I think it is a gay hockey romance with pie. I love pie. And hockey. It's violent. Read a book that you meant to read last year. This book was on multiple TBRs, and I couldn't do it. I had read too many books in the series, and I couldn't. And that's Chimes at Midnight by Shawnee McGuire. This is the 7th book in the October Days series, not the Mercy Thompson series. I love the October Day books. I know I'm gonna love this as soon as I read it. I just have to read it. Yay! This is a great series, by the way. If you love urban fantasy, or you're not sure about urban fantasy, but you like good characters, this has great lore, great world building, great characters. Read it. Randomly choose a book from your TBR. I have a TBR jar and I reached in and I pulled out The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. I read her 2 middle grade books in the Small Spaces series and I really enjoyed them. So I want to see what she does with adult fantasy and not like children's horror. Then the next prompt is to read a book that reminds you of someone. And I chose this chonker. This is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, which is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. I've had it on my TBR for a while, and because my ex-boyfriend loves this series, like obsessively loves this series. This was his like childhood. And so he's been trying to get me to read it for years. You know, we're still friends and he keeps telling me, have you read it yet? No, I haven't. I'm doing it this year, Robert. Are you proud of me? So yes, I'm reading Eye of the World by Robert Jordan because it reminds me of my friend Robert. The next prompt is to read a book that you bought because of the online community, and that would be Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. Mahurin. First of all, I really enjoy this cover. I think it's gorgeous. I was really into kind of like the romance and the comedy and the French, because I guess it's like kind of French. There's French words in here. I'm digging this. I'm into it. Yay. I'm done. Next prompt is to have somebody choose a book off of your TBR, and I unleashed my mother into my room and I said, these are my TBR shelves. Pick something. So she touched everything and she chose Theory of Shadows by Claire Legrand. This is a middle grade book about a girl named Olivia who lives in a broken down music hall with her neglectful father and a cat named Igor and ghosts. It's supposed to be like a spoopy middle grade and I'm into it. Also, didn't know Claire Legrand wrote middle grade. So that's neat. And last, but definitely not least, read a 5-star prediction. Now, when I purchase books, I don't purchase them based on star rating. And I don't go through and be like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a 5-star book. I go, God, I hope I enjoy that. But I've fudged the prompt to pick a book you think you'll really enjoy. And I chose How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. The premise sounded interesting, something about living a really long time and then not wanting to do that anymore or something. Yeah, I'd heard good things about this author. I haven't heard as many things about this book as I have some of his other works, but either way, I'm excited to get into it. Yeah, hopefully it's a 5-star. But if it's not, at least I can say I've read something by Matt Haig, finally. So that is it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. These are the 24 books that I plan on reading this year, and I hope I can do it. Challenge accepted. Yay! If you plan on participating, please let me know down below. If you have read any of the books, please also let me know as well. Get me hyped for future reading. Again, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to, and to be continued. Bye! Started reading it and then I couldn't stop reading it. Hold on. Wait, no. Let's try it again. She a big boy. Sure. Do you hear that? I feel like I have stuff in my teeth. Do I? Next is to read your most recent... Behind the Beautiful Rivers, Life, Death... That's not what I wanted to say. What did I want to say? Hello?